Greetings, geeks and nerds, and ladies, universe, and white nerdy. And today we have a little bit of a different one for people with a comic book team that I know nothing about that DC has, as well as what character that I do know everything about. Here we have Superman versus the Authority. I know nothing about the Authority. There are several other comic YouTubers who are on YouTube that could probably talk about them, but for me, I literally know nothing about them. I only know a little bit about them, and even that's not much to go on. I never really learned about the Authority, much like other people. I only know that pretty much they're like a superhero team in like the DC universe. I think that DC actually bought them out eventually. But here we have a crazy crossover. Superman versus the Authority. And I think that this comic might be an Elseworld story. You'll see what I mean as the review goes on, and especially later on I'll talk about it. But one thing that I said in my Action Comics #1 review, I said that this had nothing to do with the Elite. While I was going back and rereading this for this review, there is a member from the Elite that's in this. So, oops. I made a mistake. So anyways, you're not here to learn about my mistakes. You're here for a goofy comic book review by Grant Morrison of all people. And Grant Morrison is usually the guy that can use very weird ideas and use them to his advantage. Take a look at, for example, his All-Star Superman run and also his Batman and Robin Eternal run. It's pretty much what the guy knows what he's doing, and the guy does understand how to write Superman. But how does this Superman stack up to the one from Action Comics? And the one from All-Star Superman? Well, let's dive into Superman vs. the Authority and see how Grant Morrison handled this crazy idea. The cover is honestly not that bad. Well, not that great either. You have Superman sitting in the middle of what I can assume are members of the Authority. And that's about as far as I can get with this. And I'm assuming that the one down here is probably Steel, not a member of the Authority, but people can feel free to correct me since I know nothing about the Authority aside from Midnighter over here, and I believe Apollo, I think is his name. But aside from that, I literally know nothing. But still a great cover. And what makes me think that this is an Outworld story is, look at Superman here. Let that play around in your mind just for a little bit as the review goes on. We begin in Washington, D.C., 1963 to be exactly, as Superman seems to be talking to, well, John F. Kennedy. No, seriously, I'm not even kidding. I'm not sure I understand. You brought me here for a reason, I assume, Mr. President. You need my protection in Dallas? No, I need you to do something more important for me. You represent progress, hope, the future. You're a man of tomorrow. Superhuman, honest, and interested. So, in an unfortunate twist, Superman is talking about going with President Kennedy to Dallas, where we know President Kennedy was shot. The Wartime Justice Society tried to make a difference where the law couldn't. The Mystery Men played their part in ending World War II. But you and your kind, and there are others, I want you to stand tall, to end war itself, to take us to the stars. I'll see what I can do. I know you will. I know what you're capable of, Superman. I do like this nice little nod that he mentioned the JSA and then walked past a photo of them. That's very awesome. And also, yes, John F. Kennedy is putting Superman up to the mark of basically putting us into space, so Superman goes on with the Apollo 13 thing. Can I count on you and people like you? Can I trust you to make our future generations won't have to fight for a better world, a finer world, a finer world? You have my word, Mr. President. Jack, Superman. You can call me Jack. But then, of course, the incident happened, and I'm sorry to bring this up, and I know that this is unfortunate, but yeah, we see Jackie Kennedy with her husband John Kennedy driving through Dallas, Texas, and if you know what happened in Dallas, Texas in 1963, you know it's not a very pretty sight while Superman is up and around with the people of Apollo 13. And we cut to some time later, and we see all-around British asshole Manchester Black from the Authority. Yes, seriously, that's Manchester Black, and he's being hunted down by, well, what I can assume is basically police authority trying to go after him. Which, of course, they need side blockers on to stop Manchester Black, because in case people don't know, Manchester Black had the power of, well, telekinesis and telepathy. So unfortunately, he gets into this guy's mind and does not make it for the better. And he even starts attacking all the other guards as basically he starts walking up. Boys. Everywhere looks shambles. Cyborg! He's too big to block! He's black! I know that he means Manchester Black, but what?
Are all incompetents!
I mean, I got nothing else to add to that. Boys with guns, boys with shoppers, boys who seriously think I'll give a flying fuck. And of course he does not, taking down people before he gets riddled with bullets. And since he is not Deadpool or Wolverine, he gets taken out quite quickly. As unfortunately when he's knocked out, somebody comes to his rescue, but somebody that we don't know about yet. When he wakes up in the Fortress of Solitude, attached to a chair that seems to be repairing his insides. As the person that ended up saving him was nobody more than Superman. I'm running out of time to fix it. I need to set things right, whatever it takes. I can help you. I think you can help me, Manchester Black. Finally, I'm in hell, punished for all my many sins, Superman. So the two of them start talking, and of course Manchester doesn't want to help, because the last time that Manchester tried to help Superman, things did not go as well as he planned, unfortunately. But of course he wheels them around, and the two of them talk about how metahuman can basically be the dominant and prominent force of Earth. Now this is where you start thinking that things are not going right for Superman. That, Mr. Black, is an alarm connected to the Phantom Zone, where criminals of my homeworld, Krypton, are in prison. When Kryptonian scientists discovered the zone, the first exploratory probes were robots. These machines have gone rogue. They will learn how to crack the zone portal locks exactly every 12 minutes. That's how long I have to convince you to lend a hand. So, right when he said that, you know that this isn't our Superman, but instead an evil one, able to basically convince people to either listen to him, or he'll throw them right into his trap that he just so happens to have. Yeah, so when I said that this was an Outworld story, I think I actually mean it. Manchester tells him that he can go straight to hell, but of course Superman is not having any of it, and instead attempts to destroy his own machine. And as we can see that there are people in the pictures and there's the Phantom Zone, so I can assume that they are prisoners of Krypton. Not one of them happens to be one of the Supermen from All-Star Superman, but the others, your guess is as good as mine, as he breaks apart his machine, absolutely destroying it and screaming die. While a bunch of pictures fly past him, and then a strange creature attacks. The hell? Well, of course, everything is destroyed. And Manchester seems to be impressed. He thinks that with Manchester's psychic powers, that perhaps the two of them can team up together and officially really control criminals. But of course, Manchester kind of talked to this like, weren't you a part of the Justice League? Weren't you one of the greatest superheroes that ever existed? And of course, Superman just charged it down when he talked about how President Kennedy was assassinated. Never take anything for granted, Mr. Black. Or anyone. So, Superman blames himself for the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Okie dokie then. And we cut over to a figure who I assume is meeting with the Authority. I can only assume. Finally, circumstances conspire to put my oldest enemy exactly where I want him. Superman lied. He lied about his secret life. He lied about his son. And the biggest lie of all is this. Only I know the truth about Kryptonite. Only I know how to really destroy him. You made a... So, Lex Luthor went to the Authority to try to get them to kill Superman, while Lex Luthor was dressed up like a 90s comic book figure, as far as I can tell.
I found it. See? Let's go. You asked from a moron egg?
And so the two keep talking about how, well, if they were in control of the world, if metahumans ruled the world, then everything would be better. As Superman wants to propose a toast. Here's to a brighter world, Mr. Black. Here's to a finer world. A finer world. Mineral water! Mineral water! What the hell is wrong with you, Superman? You do not feed a drunk British asshole mineral water! What is wrong with you? I have pre-existing medical condition, where if I don't consume alcohol on an hourly basis, I go into a cup. And Superman straight up kills Manchester Black on top of a globe, puking while saying, a final world indeed. Superman, defender of truth, guardian of justice, destroyer of metahumans. So, you see how I was talking about this being an Elseworld story? It seems like that is the case here, where after John F. Kennedy was assassinated, Superman blamed himself, went rogue, and then decided to kill off a bunch of people. And if that doesn't sound weird, it is. It's basically like, what if Superman became Brightburn from Brightburn? Yikes. So anyway, that was Superman vs. the Authority, and for a first issue, it's not bad, but there's a lot that Grant Morrison tried to build up from it, and I do mean a lot. Trying to give us an evil Superman, what would happen if Superman ever went rogue, and who would be responsible to stop him. It seems like there's a lot more that he means to impact on the story, but for a first issue, it's not bad. But I think that it could have been more of an impactful. Maybe not have Manchester Black, but maybe even somebody more important to Superman, more so than Manchester, because if you remember when I reviewed Superman vs. the Elite, their last battle did not go as planned. So, it's not a bad issue by far, but it's one that has a lot of flaws in it. Still an enjoyable read, but a very confusing one, especially coming from Grant Morrison, that said literally nothing. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Although next time we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to have a Superman topic video to discuss. I'm not sure which one I want to do yet. I'm still fiddle-faddling with the idea. But the next time when we come back, Supergirl will be in theaters. I don't know if I'll be seeing it myself. Probably not. I'll probably wait until it comes out on DVD. However, even in saying this, we are going to celebrate Supergirl in a different way. She's supposed to appear in Superman Man of Tomorrow that comes out next year. So why don't I talk about a Superman movie that I've never seen before, included on this. I already talked about All-Star Superman. I already talked about Superman vs. the Elite. So, next time we're going to see what happens when Superman and Supergirl go against Brainiac and Superman Unbound. But I'll see you when Supergirl comes to theaters. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll be waiting for someone to keep on. And until next time, and as always, take care. And then see you next time, where we will be celebrating Supergirl with a review of Superman Unbound. Until next time.